Hello everyone, I am Tacit and welcome to the Gems of War Campaign 12, Week 3, Day 2. So today, of course, we got the Silver Necropolis faction, so we'll be doing that event. However, the most relevant thing about this, of course, is the return of the Life and Death weapon. Arguably one of the best weapons in the entire game. Ends up stealing a bunch of life from the last two enemies and death marks them and blesses itself and drains mana from the first slot and enchants itself and does a bunch of scatter damage. And I think that's everything. I think I might have missed one thing. But it does a lot of things. It's really good at getting super durable, especially with a stealthy-based hero class, like Orb Weaver or anything else that you might want to use for it. But basically, you have Stealthy on it, you have Bless on it, so it can't really be targeted much by status effects or by pretty much any other means. Gets the death mark, so it eventually just randomly gets kills. Has mana drain to keep them down. Gets all the life stolen, even though it's doing true damage, also gets to keep all that life. So it gets very, very bulky and hard to get rid of once it starts getting going a bit. You generally just want to burst it down as far as facing it, especially if you can get it stunned before it ends up getting blessed, because then you can just rope dart it or just hit it directly through other means, and then just kill it out. Or one gigantic scroll spam can also just obliterate it down, though it will generally get a spider summon from that due to the 35% on Orb Weaver. But overall, really, really great weapon to have. More so a defensive weapon than an offensive one. It's generally really slow to run in most areas. As far as, you know, trying to win quickly, as it's not a quick win weapon. It's just really good at not losing. So it has that going for it. But yeah, definitely make sure to pick that up. You can get it for two different ways. You can get it for, how many gems is that again? It's 410 gems. Or the slightly cheaper way, oddly enough, is in Soulforge. These weapons are always 50% off compared to the normal weapons. And what I mean by that is, if I can go find it real quick, where is it? So let's take, like, for example, this is a normal weapon, Crystal Point, not one you want to get necessarily. However, if you notice the values here, all of them are 50% lower. But keep in mind, Life and Death is only available today for a few more hours as well, 4 more hours. So if you haven't already picked it up, definitely make sure to do so. But yeah, it's just 50% cheaper than a normal one. So if you don't want to spend the 410 gems for it, you might want to consider getting it in Soulforge for that material, as you can only get it today. Anyways, so yeah, that's that. Other than that, that's pretty much going to be our main focus then. That and focus the world event a little bit. Actually, you know, let's even start at the world event. Let's do a little bit of a warm-up here, and then we'll mess around with the faction itself. So for this, we're kind of just spamming every single dragon, just using Mace of Claws with whatever AoE dragons you happen to have. If you don't have Mace of Claws, there are a few other mana accumulation options. However, if you do have Mace of Claws, it's definitely the best way to go as far as mana accumulation is concerned. Wordbreaker also gets some mana accumulation on itself if you happen to have it. Worst comes to worst, you can also get cascaded mana from Pristine X, and end up doing it some that way. Actually, what I did, I already had the win condition. We just poke it down. That's not 50%. That is definitely 50%, right? Oh, 50% margin of difference. Not technically 50% less. Because it costs 50% more to, it's a 1/3 difference, but a 50% margin. Because generally, if you compare it to the normal cost of a weapon, it is 50%. In the sense that a general cheaper weapon and the other one is a 50% difference. But if you're looking from it from the base cost downwards, it is a 1/3 difference. So yes, it is technically 33% cheaper. But there's also a margin of difference of 50%. Depends how you look at it. 50%, 33%, same difference. Depending on which direction you're going in. But basically, all weapons in comparison are 50% more than it. But it is technically only a 33% discount compared to the standard price, as it has become more standard for the higher price than the lower one. They used to use the lower one a little bit more. But due to how events roll over now, the higher value is actually the more common value, not the lower value. However, one thing that's still left over from that older mechanic is that all the faction weapons are still at that discount, where they only cost the 400 range rather than that 600 range, as far as those resources are concerned. So hello everyone, by the way. Hope all you guys have been having a wonderful week. Hello, Roman. Hello, Lester. Hello, Jonian. Hello, Bill. Hello, Ginky. Hope all's been going well. Hello, Cookie. Hello, let's see. You found the birthday stream? Let's see. Hello, Barbara. Hello, Clip Bomb. Hello, Isabel. Hello, Henry. Hello, Andrew. Hello, Emanator. Hello, Henry. I already said Henry. Hello, everyone else. Welcome, welcome. Will you play extra hours during Vault? Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to be going longer during this Vault weekend. How much longer? We'll see. Definitely there's a couple hours. I do plan on maybe doing one mega stream. If we do, it's going to be on Sunday, most likely, where we might do a very long stream. I should have time on Sunday to do quite a bit of a longer one. We're definitely not aiming for any kind of necessarily goal this weekend. We're more so just kind of going in, just kind of some fun grinding. But, yeah, we will, if we're going to be doing a much bigger stream, it is definitely going to be on Sunday. Though the nightly streams will probably be longer than normal. How much so is to be determined, but, you know, a bit longer than normal on those. And the Sunday will probably do quite a bit of a longer one compared to the rest of the weekend. Actually, we might do more grind on Sunday than the rest of the weekend combined. We'll see. We should have enough time to on that day. But yeah, this is possibly the last Vault weekend of the year this weekend. This could be subject to change, though. They have thrown random Vault events at end of year before. However, as far as currently scheduled events, this is the very last Vault event this weekend. At least for the year. Obviously not ever, but specifically for this weekend, or this year, it'll be the very last one that occurs this weekend, from the 2nd to the 4th. The next one after that, assuming we don't get one for the holidays, will probably be the second week of... Well, probably third week, actually, of January. Probably around the time we get the patch, actually. Same week we get the patch will probably be the next Vault weekend. Because they normally do a patch mid-January or so. And that would align with the other time. Now, what do we need here? Let's take a little bit of mana there. And it's already enough damage. I keep underestimating how much damage that does the gem dragons. They actually hit pretty hard. Like, you compare that to, like, a normal dragon's, like, AoE. It's hitting substantially harder. Wonder if a second version of Naughty and Nice will come. I probably would say no. They have done very, very little in balance changes in recent times. And I'm not sure they're really going to start doing it again. But one can hope. That is one thing that's definitely been lacking the last several years. Pretty much since the pandemic. They have done, like, almost no rebalance whatsoever. This is mostly problematic for things like Guild Wars and such. For most other pieces of content in the game, that's not really too big a deal. But, you can see the effects of it the most if you play Guild War. That is for sure. Just stepping foot in Guild War even for a second shows the problem with, a lack of rebalance over the last several years. Like, the last time we really had any was, like, what, 3-4 years ago? Like, obviously, we just had the Broken Spire rework a couple weeks ago? A couple weeks. But, that didn't really do much. Like, it gave us, like, some other utilities to kind of use, like, in here and there. But it didn't really make anything, like, over-the-top viable. And it even nerfed some things, like, Fire Lizard, which effectively got a nerf to what its ability does. Mostly because in many contexts, it'd rather have an extra turn spam rather than having burning gems. As burning gems doesn't really give it any kind of necessarily benefit. Whereas extra turn spam gives it infinite damage. Not literally, because it's not that good at spamming, but you know. Give it more damage than what it has now, that's for sure. Yeah, I would definitely hope they would do a holiday rework again. Because when was the last one? That was when they nerfed Skeleton Key and everything. That was back in 2019? 2020? 2019? 1 to 2. I think it was 2029. It was 2019's December, which means 3 years ago, I believe, was the last time they did that. If I'm not mistaken. Guild War equals Empower Wars, the dual Empower Wars, where every team requires having either book and/or double empower. There is nothing in between, except the occasional team. But very rarely is there anything in between. Anyways, let's go to the faction event. So, of course, we covered all the teams on Monday. With that being said, also good old life and death teams. Anyways, with that being said, we already have our faction team good to go. And it is pretty standard Guards Avatar. Basically like Rowan build, except the other version of it is what we'll be running. It just seems like one of the quicker things to end up running for the faction. Oh, I should go set to armor just to make sure we have the higher damage range for when we get a little bit deeper. Luckily, we are not currently a little bit deeper yet, so we don't need to worry about that quite yet. Alright, let me go replace out our metals real quick, in case we need them. We're going to once we reach the deeper end. Obviously, we don't need them quite yet. Better to change them now, so we don't need to later. As of course, Guard's avatar, similar to Rowain, gains much more of a benefit from having armor than it does from having magic. And oddly enough, Rowain and Guard avatar basically have the same armor boost ratio. Even though his is a 1.2 and hers is a 2 times, it effectively comes out to the same amount of extra damage due to the fact that he hits everything simultaneously. Whereas Rowain does split damage, hitting them, individually, one at a time. So he's effectively gaining the exact same amount of damage per armor as a Rowain does. It's just distributed in a bit of a different way. Yeah, books and double empower make up a lot of Guild War right now. Also doesn't help that there's a lot of really broken hero classes that synergize with it as well. I don't know, maybe we'll finally get around to doing something with it. I would love to see rule sets for it where it has like a rotating theme every single time, where you still have to do color restriction, but on top of that you also might have to do one other thing, but it applies to defend team and offense team. So you can't just do it, even though it would also hinder offense team, it would also make it so you would have to change up your defend team. Because one thing I don't like about Guild Wars is you can literally just keep up the same team forever. Like, unless the meta drastically shifts, which with no balance patches pretty much never happens, but unless the meta just like drastically shifts, it's just going to be the same thing every single time. There's no incentive to like change up all your teams or anything. Like, you can if you want to mess around. We normally do offensively just for the fun of it, if there's something new that came in the last several weeks, or the last 4 weeks between Guild Wars. But otherwise, there's no real incentive to change your teams, offensively nor defensively. But it'd be cool if there was some kind of rotating theme where, like, you can't use Hero one week, can't use Mythics one week, who knows, can't use Legends one week, no Empower another week, no Hero class another week. I'm pretty sure I just already repeated some of those, but you get the point. Something along those lines. Because that would make it, even without rebalance, still make it so the type of options you have will constantly keep changing, both offensively and defensively. And it would apply to both sides, so you wouldn't have to worry about, defense still being super annoying. So even though it would make your offense team potentially weaker, it would also make the enemy team also substantially weaker. I don't know, it'd be interesting to see. Something to incentivize changing things up a little. You have to use Peasant. Peasant would be really funny. Actually, that would be really, really funny. A Guild War where you can only use common troops. Now, that would be a lot of fun. Like, that's the kind of things we need for Guild War. Like, really fun theme builds. Imagine an entire Guild War where the only thing you could use is commons. Both offensively and defensively. No hero, just common troops. The only problem with that is there are some really broken, like, pseudo-legend commons that are technically under the common rarity, but are actually, like, legendary in a sense. Where they have the upgrading cost of a, like a legend, but the actual rarity of a common. Like the Guardian troops, for example. Also, oddly enough, the Dooms would be kind of interesting. The Dooms would probably actually get viably used for once. Because the Dooms are actually considered common troops. They're almost never used, and if they are, they're only used for their trait. Which has, the insta-kill on it. Though there's generally better ways of doing that. Particularly with the Doom rarity troops. Like the tower with that Enraged Carandera. Did you miss dungeons? No, we haven't done dungeons yet. We're currently just doing the faction event for the week. And if anyone still hasn't picked it up yet, definitely make sure to get Life and Death. Great pickup for the week. Probably the most important thing coming out this week, other than the new Mythic this Friday. The new Mythic this Friday seems kind of average. Like, it might be slightly above average, but we're talking ever so slightly. Also, tier list video soon, TM. Very soon, TM. Hopefully after next Vault event, I'll cover a tier list for it all. It's gonna take a while to make up everything. But sometime probably midway through next week, we're gonna cover a tier list on all the mythics. Because the final mythic of the year is coming out. Actually, that's not true. Wait, is it? When's the other one coming out? Campaign. Yeah, the final mythic of the year is coming out this Friday. Because the one in the season pass, even if you have the expanded pass, will not be out before the end of the year. It'll be out early to mid-January. I'll still probably cover it in the video, even though it's not actually out yet. Because even though it's not like out, it's technically out to some degree. Like, you could visibly see it in game. It's out enough to see it. Not even through any Spore of the Thread or anything. Finally, best troops of 2019. Did they end up fixing the weapon from campaign rework? Oh, that's a good question. I do not know. What was it called? It was called like Dragon something. They have not. Wonderful. Yep, they still have not fixed it. Realistically, they probably won't until next week. We probably gotta wait till next Monday to get that weapon, even though we already have access to it now, or at least in theory should. But yeah, they still have not fixed that weapon. That's kind of insane. How do they forget that? Like, I somewhat understand, like, the expanded pass slightly forgetting. Because it's like, oh yeah, it's slightly earlier than normal. But how is it on the standard date of which you would accumulate the item? Would it not be working? That seems kind of strange. It's not the first time it's happened either. It's actually happened decently often. Like, almost every campaign pass has had one reward where it comes out, like, later than when you actually unlock it. Not every single one, but I feel like at least, like, every other campaign there's at least a single instance of it. Especially if you have the paid pass that gets you stuff early. Because that's even more likely it'll be glitched and not be able to get it for another week. Treasure map rework will happen before the 2019 troop video. Hey, they've been saying they do a treasure hunt rework since like 2017. So they've had a longer time running. The last treasure hunt rework, I'm pretty sure, was 2015. I'm pretty sure it was all the way back in 2015. At least we're getting 10 out of 10 crowns every single day. Yeah, it doesn't take too long. Honestly, I don't mind the grind. I just wish the event was like a little shorter, in a sense. He's having to do it for 35 days, a little long. But the actual amount of time per day isn't that bad. It's just his duration is among one of the longest events in the game. But the only thing being longer being the campaign pass. However, campaign passes don't feel as long. Because you just do it on a single Monday, you know, like as soon as the week starts and you're already good to go. Like it takes like half an hour to an hour, give or take a little bit. It doesn't take that long at all. And it's something that you can get concentrated all in one day, so once you get it done, you don't have to keep doing it every day. That was one of the things that made their other game, Puzzle Quest 3, really, really annoying. Which I hope they don't keep bringing mechanics like that to Gems of War. They have a few, but not like a super high amount. Where if you don't do something every single day, you basically get punished for doing so. Whereas I much prefer the events that are a lot more lenient, where you could do it like any time across an entire week, or even multiple weeks and still get the full reward. Because most events are Gems of War set up that way. Like weekend events you have 3 days, week-long events you have a whole entire week. Some other things you have like 2 weeks for, like for example, Legends Reborn. You could theoretically do on the 14th day. And it would only take like, what, an hour or two? Probably closer to 2. You actually have to do quite a few battles. It's like 30-something battles each time. And the higher ones are basically like Explore 12. I actually wouldn't know because I've never done them all consecutively for their Legends Reborn. Because generally I just do it as soon as they're available. Just so it doesn't keep stacking up. And even that's not too bad because it's not like you have to do it every day. It's once every 3 days. Or you can split it up even more so if you wanted to. But it doesn't force you to have to do it all in one day. Even though you could. I mean, it doesn't force you to have to do a little bit every day, I mean. Even though you could spread it out that way. Also, I'm taking rooms kind of randomly. Generally, I want to keep like those treasure rooms in the corner for last, but I don't know. I'm just kind of taking. I'm like taking the multiplier order and like ignoring the treasure rooms are even there, even though I'm aware of their presence. I do really hope the game gets a treasure hunt rework soon, though. I honestly do still enjoy the mode. It just is very little incentive from a loot perspective to bother engaging with the mode. They need to add tokens, they need to add writs for deeds. They need to add better things to the vault drop table. And just buff the loot in general. I'm curious if they're going to tweak the gem rate, though. Because oddly enough, even though treasure hunt's kind of not worth it in the current state of the game, ironically, despite that being said, it is the most amount of gems you can get from any infinite form in Gems of War. Because the rate of gems for doing treasure hunts efficiently at max speed is about 50 to 70 gems per hour. Not even counting the other resources that can give gems like gold and glory. That's just simply gems alone. It's like 50 to 70 per hour. And that's technically the highest infinite farmable gem you could ever do when it's not a vault event. Which might sound like it's good, but then you compare it to Tribute, where you're averaging like 20-something per Tribute. And it doesn't seem as good anymore. But I am curious if they would actually buff the gem rate. I feel like they won't. Like, the gem rate will probably be about the same. But they're just going to buff other things about it. Yeah, getting hero XP would be interesting for it. That's one thing that has kept a lot of people from it, because let's say the loot got, like, insanely good. Like, actually worth doing. Like, almost like Explore 12 level good. If they don't add XP to it, you still have the issue of you're basically getting no, like, meta progression for your account. Whereas, yes, you're getting a bunch of various loots. But as far as things that people can actually see, like, you know, your hero level, it's not actually giving you anything in that regard. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually do tweak it to give some amount of XP. Because that could change things up quite substantially. Having infinite money would be the best gem rate, true. That reminds me, whatever happened to Diablo Immortals? Is that game even still running? Because when I think of games that has an infinite money sink, I'm not sure why, but that's the first thing that came to mind. Yeah, it's really strange because to get optimal loot in treasure hunts, you actually want to stop at green chests. Because everything beyond green, with how the scaling is actually not worth going for, especially if you're just rushing through it. But even in general, it is almost never worth going beyond green. And the only time it is somewhat worth it is completely luck-based, and it's when you land gem keys off of vaults. After our most recent vault that we did this Monday, or was it last week? We ended up hitting a double gem key on. But unless you specifically hit the gem key drop on vault, every upgraded red chest you did up to that point, that's the only time when it's actually worth the value. In every other situation, you actually lose value from getting red chests and getting vaults. And the main reason why green is a good stopping point is it is the first spot where you can start getting gems. It's also where the 40 to 70 gem figure comes from. Because your goal is to get as many green chests as possible, fail the map, and then repeat. Where you basically want to get like 10 plus green chests. So you're averaging about at least 2 gems per map. And then instantly losing the map. And just can't keep repeating. Because you don't get better rewards from combining them together. You actually get better rewards for stopping at green. Back in the day, people used to even stop at the brown one, or, you know, the basic chest. Because that was a decent way to get glory at the time. Obviously, there are way better ways to get glory these days. Most notably, just farm infinite during a vault weekend and you'll be fine, good forever. But, back in the day when glory wasn't as attainable, you can actually stop at browns and get a bunch of glory that way. It was always kind of worthwhile just to go all the way to green, though. Because it still has the glory drop, of course. So if you happen to miss the gems, you still get the glory. Or potentially get the glory. Yeah, there's a very weird incentive structure to treasure hunt. The two weirdest ones are that it is not worth going for vaults because green chests are better. And it is not worth playing it out to get bigger chests. Because it is way quicker. It's not worthwhile to think out your turn. It is way more efficient to just take the first thing you see and just rapidly take moves. If you're just looking for loot. This has been the case ever since they added 4 times speed. It was some of the case even before 4 times speed, but especially so after 4 times speed. Because you're basically punished for thinking in treasure hunt. As any delay on taking your turn is just giving you less loot. Even if it's a bad move, it's better than no move. Because the way treasure hunt's currently played, if you're just optimizing loot, is you're basically just taking the first thing you see over and over again. And that's it. It's like the entirety of the treasure hunt. First move you see, this is the first move you take. And just keep doing that until the map's over. While also trying to get as many green chests as you can while doing so. Let's go on to the code as soon as we finish out the faction. And then we'll go head to dungeons. And who knows, maybe we'll get to guess that dungeon door today. The most recent one we did have, we won. We handed out 2 codes. Because chat also guessed correctly. And it was a 1, 2, 3, 4. The souls reward in treasure hunt's the absolute worst. Yeah, the ratio of souls that you get for it's kind of low. Because when treasure hunt was first made, the soul economy was quite a bit different than it is now. Souls way back in the day. Used to be a rate of like under 100 per hour. Actually, it was like a few hundred per hour, not under 100, but it was like a few hundred per hour. These days, you can get like 40 to 50,000 per hour. And even just passively through Vault weekends, you can probably get like 20 to 30,000 per hour without even using a soul farming team. Oh, so we're still one-shotting? Have we not fallen off a single time yet? This is kind of surprising because we're already on what is potentially the final floor. We're still one-shotting. Because this is tier 5 room as well. I'll see what happens on the tier 6. After getting Diamanthia, and the fact you have stopped spending gems on Dragonite, you have 2 perfect runs. Oh gosh, well there is reason to get a second one eventually. Having double of it can still be usable. There's some weird gimmicky teams you could do with it. For example, wish gem related teams. Or anything that can get a lot of mana to things that are mana blocked. But there are some teams that theoretically could double up on the dragon. Realistically, that's not going to happen much. But it is possible to double up on it. Alright, hopefully this is our final battle, though I don't think the multipliers are good enough here. It's not the worst multiplier faction, but then again, maybe we will have enough because I've been taking multiplier order rather than dealing with the treasure rooms. I feel like if we did treasure room optimal order, we probably wouldn't have enough points. But since we did go for multiplier, we probably do. We do. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay. So we don't need the extra. Unfortunately, double orange. Not ideal. But loot nonetheless. Nothing else. There's a vault key in there. Anyways, here's the code, everyone. Enjoy. Use it on gemsofwar.com for the game code section. Your invite code to be found in your settings menu. Redeem code to rid of other chats. Cut paste random numbers and letters. And give same reward as always. True treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, and 2,000 gold. And definitely feel free to leave a like on the stream. Helps a lot and is greatly appreciated. There you guys go. Enjoy. So, next order of business. Let's go see if we get lucky on dungeons today. Boom. Okay, no trap. Good sign. Up, trap. Bad sign. Can we at least get a staircase? Come on, where's the staircase at? Nope, just some emeralds. Unfortunate. Gosh, what is this spread? It's all over the place. Alright, let me go get a Zolgoth out. What was the other trap? It was just Jinx and Poison. We could basically just ignore we even hit a trap then. Unfortunately, our Dragonite gains doesn't ignore it. But mechanically, we could pretty much ignore that we even got hit by anything. As both of them do pretty much nothing. Ooh, entangle onto a first slot. That's not ideal. And I don't have a cleanser. We kill out Rowan just in case we have to deal with it. And at this point, since we're kind of incapable of doing so, we'll just have to go for the Zolgoth to kill then. Hey, no problem, everyone, for the code. Enjoy. Yep, no, another perfect. Though we did get one pretty recently, so... Gotta have our down period now. And of course we'll keep getting our Dragonite. There we go. Was there anything good on the... Oh, also thank you whoever claimed the code for us. Perfect. Was there anything good on offers today? Nope, we didn't get anything good. Nor did Adventure Board really have much, unfortunately. Alright, well, we haven't done the crowns yet. And only a couple more days. Thursday we'll have the troop and the weapon. More notably the weapon, because the troop's honestly not that good at all. However, the weapon is somewhat usable. It's very situational, but it can be used. It's kind of like an alternative Urskia shield. It barriers itself instead of your target, and then gives a bunch of armor to all allies, boosted by burning gems. And if you're burning, gain an extra turn. One interesting thing that this might actually be used for, oddly enough, maybe a Tesla team. Because it has no mana conflict with Tesla, in all fairness, nor does Urskia shield. However, there are contexts where the amount of armor gain for damage output is actually going to be higher for Molten Ward than it will be for using Urskia shield. Obviously, once you start getting to the higher ranges, Urskia shield will outpace that of the ratio that you'll end up getting from this weapon. However, there is an area in which this does get more value. You also have to keep in mind, if it's burning, it also gains an extra turn. So if you happen to be in a situation where you can easily get burnt, could maybe be okay. Obviously, having something on your team to deliberately do so, not really worthwhile. However, if the enemy team already has some easy way to apply it to you, and you get that value for free, then it could end up working out to be okay. It's an interesting weapon that has some potential. And oddly enough, the most useful thing we get this entire Kingdom Pass. I'll catch you later, Clip Bomb. Thanks for stopping by. You have 4 dragons, you can try for a 5th, but nope. Yep, I'm doing pretty much the same thing. I'm kind of just waiting until they have the guaranteed dragon drops early next year. And I'm just kind of hoarding all my Dragonite. And look at that. First battle, we already got a crown. And by first battle, I mean first battle that can drop a crown. 2 in a row. Because every battle that we've done up to this point, the stream has had 0% chance of dropping a crown. And so far, every battle that we've done so far that has a chance of dropping crown has been 100% drop rate. Oh, we finally failed though. Only 2 in a row. I think our highest was like 6 or 7 in a row before. I wonder if anyone's hit all 10 in a row. The odds on that is very, very, very unlikely. I'm not sure what the actual roll odds are per every single category. However, it is exceedingly unlikely to get 10 in a row. Though getting multiple in a row definitely possible. What amount do you need? I probably need about 4,000. Because we currently have 4 gem dragons. Let's assume each gem dragon to buy them directly will cost 1,000. Could be more, could be less. Realistically, could be more. But let's just say it's 1,000. So that means I will need 2,000 for the 2 dragons I'm missing, 1,000 each. I will need 2,000 for the weapons, because both the 2 that cost 500 and the 1,000 for the combination of them. So now we're up to 4,000. And then I need another 1,000 for the dragon itself, which will bring us to 5,000. Or, you know, the 6-colored dragon. So that means I would currently need roughly 5,000 Dragonites. Could be higher depending on how much it costs to target an egg, or, you know, target a dragon. However, with an assumption of 1,000, we would need 5,000 total in that situation. And I'm currently sitting at a little over 3,000. So even though we have a lot of Dragonite hoarded, it is not enough. And that's also under the assumption that it'll be 1,000. Could easily be 1,500, could be 2,000. If it is 2,000, it's actually more efficient for me to just go open eggs until we get one more, and then go for the dragon for the final one, just to make sure we don't have to RNG the 6th one. But the cost really comes down to what egg to auto-buy ratio will end up doing. Because anything over 1,000 definitely gets to the sketchy category of, do we just simply open the eggs instead? If it's 2,000 or higher, it's definitely just going to be eggs, and except for the final one. Because for the very last one, due to trying to dodge bad luck, at 2,000 it kind of would actually still be worth it. It's only really worth it for the final 2, though. Particularly the final one. Someone in your guild crafted 12 and got all 6. That's pretty lucky. Or definitely above average luck. What's up, hello, Supernova? Welcome, welcome. My concern is if I open like 5 dragon eggs right now, you know it's going to be 5 repeats. Like there's a near 100% chance it's going to be 5 repeats. Not because that's the actual odds, but you know it's going to happen. That's the reason I haven't bothered. The second I saw my first repeat, I was like, nope, we're done. I'll wait. Because that was already after they did the announcement thingy. Yeah, I'll just wait till the patch early next year. We still don't know if it's going to be the first or second patch of next year. First patch normally hits in January. Second patch normally hits early March. Is it better to craft 1 egg at a time or craft multiple at once? I would say... I don't know, it's more fun doing it 1 at a time. There technically is no difference unless you're close to getting to the end. Like if you only need 1 or 2 more dragons, you would probably want to do it 1 at a time. But if you're still missing like 4 or 5 of them and you want to craft like, you know, several eggs, it would be fine. But doing them at once does not give you any higher chance of getting one you don't have. It doesn't work like status effects in this game, where if you apply 4 of them, it'll do all of them simultaneously. Unfortunately, the eggs don't work that way. You can't just open 6 eggs and get 1 of each. Unfortunately, not how it works. Otherwise, that would be the meta for it. Is to save up for 3,000 and just instantly get them all, but that's not how it works, unfortunately. Once I hit 4,000 Dragonite, you should craft a single egg each time you hit 4,000 and then repeat. I could once we hit 5,000. Because that would ensure we have enough buffer depending on how much it costs to get the final egg. Once they do the update. Worst comes to worst, we'll be able to craft double of the final dragon. But I could maybe start doing that if we happen to have Spear by then, though I'm not sure we're gonna have Spear by then. It might be 2 to 5 years. No. Based on what they said earlier, it should be pretty early next year. Or even getting a Dragonite gnome and everything like that. Generally, if they're announcing a gnome as well, it's generally pretty early. Or, you know, pretty soon that's happening. Almost every time they've ever announced a gnome, it happened within 6 months or less. And they talked about it like a month or two ago. Because anytime they've ever mentioned a gnome, it has always happened within that several month period. As far as that gnome releasing. There hasn't been a single situation that hasn't happened. Though, of course, there could be a first. But generally, if they're going out of their way to mention something that's specific, it's happening relatively soon. They also specified it's likely happening early next year, to give even more indication of it. Oh, we got all our crowns now, right? Yeah, we do. I thought we got the last crown there. Oh, good old deed book. And we got 3 little tiers left. Though, of course, if you have the paid side, you can keep going for several days to get the extended rewards. It doesn't give you much, just gives you a small amount of tokens, some keys, some vault keys, and so a couple orbs here and there. It's pretty average loot. You could easily stop by that point, but I'm still probably going to keep doing it, though. For only like 10 minutes of grind, it's okay loot to still keep going for it. I just realized we still have over 5 million glory, gosh. Some of these numbers just keep getting really big. Well, mostly these two. The other two have been taking a bit of a hit, the gold and gems. Anyways, let's go run some Explore 12. As I believe we've finished out every other noteworthy objective. Unless we want to mess with some life and death tonight. Which, unfortunately, the biggest issue with life and death, it's a really, really good weapon. The biggest issue with it is it's pretty much a defend-only weapon. It's really similar to the books, in that they're absolutely insane, broken, overpowered weapons, but only when defending. They're very weird in that regard, where they're ridiculously good, but you basically never use them offensively. It's a really weird category. Or something is super good but slow. There's actually quite a few things in Gems of War that are kind of like that. Where it is, like if you use it, your win rate will go substantially up. Like let's say Arachnian Weaver, for example. Like, which is one of the reasons why Life and Death Weaver's so good. They're both things that have like super good win rate, but they're very slow to win with. But a lot of things like that in Gems of War tend to not be worth using, for the most part. Just because winning slower gives you less loot. But when it doesn't matter, like in a Guild War Defend or something similar, then you generally want to set the bulkiest thing you can. And in those kind of situations, it works a lot better. Because the time penalty you don't have to worry about. Like, you take it as long as it wants, and it's not going to affect you at all. How much Dragonite do I have right now? About 3,300. I can go check the exact number, though. But I want to say 3,300. Give or take a couple hundred upwards. Please scroll. There we go. Oh, wait, never mind. It's all the way up here, isn't it? Yep. Oh, well, gosh. Okay, yeah, several hundred upwards. We're at 3,800. We're getting there. And what number did I say I needed earlier? 5,000? Because we had the 2,000, the other 2,000, 1,000. Yeah, we need 5,000. We need like another 1,200. And then, if we keep getting Spare Dragonite, I guess we could start spending it. Or, you know, spending 500 at a time to try an egg. Because there are some dragons that getting a second copy of wouldn't necessarily hurt. Some of those double dragon builds. Very situational that that'd be worthwhile to do compared to other options, but it would still work. Like, it would function. Gashtarian, that's like quite a bit. I still have gotten like almost none. Though I haven't really been trying to hunt necessarily. I definitely find it less enjoyable compared to some of the other games. Like, Legends Arceus made it a lot of fun. But the most recent Pokemon game, a lot of the methods just kind of are really overly repetitive. Because it's a gigantic open world game, but the way you shiny hunt is to not engage with the open world. Oh, I actually ended up getting a fillet. I got it from a mass outbreak. Actually, I got it while I was basically AFK. You just hit the auto battle button, and then it just finds you a shiny sometimes. And I mean ever so occasionally sometimes. And that was one of them. Which is pretty convenient because, gosh, it is such a small shiny that you almost have to do an auto battle method. Because you could easily miss it otherwise. Due to it being one single pixel on your screen. As far as how big it is. You have 90k Chaos Shards, nice. Yeah, they tend to pile up a bit. And that reminds me, that one other trip should be coming in a couple weeks. We ended up skipping the most recent faction one, as I happened with quite a few of them, so we have a little bit more gold for Dragonite. I mean gems for Dragonite, I mean. So I've been skipping on that particular event. And it's mostly because we have so much Chaos Shards, so I figured, I might as well use it on something. No point in hoarding all of it. Even though I like to. Also, can you please get full mana already? You're gonna kill it with skulls before you get full mana, at this rate. Were you the one who suggested that initially? Because it's one of the only few where I feel like it's worth skipping. Like, I still don't skip Bounty Hunter because it's too annoying to get them after the fact. However, the Underworld things are kind of okay to skip. Just because of how accessible they are at a later point. Unlike many of the other options that are super, super hard to get at a later point. Like the Bounty Hunter troops, for example. Like, you could technically skip those too. But the amount of loot that you get extra for doing a Bounty Hunter event that high, combined with how annoying it is to get the troop after the fact, that you might as well still keep doing Bounty. But the faction ones are one in the pretty skippable category because you're not getting any kind of extra substantial loot other than, you know, more shards, basically. And you just use your excess shards to save you on the gems. Since they're not really doing much else anyways. That's a lot of average chests tonight. Nothing particularly good quite yet. They're out there somewhere. When you get 200k shards, you'll get more treasures to increase your horde level. Yeah, you could try. There was actually one person who went all the way for 1,000. I would definitely not advise doing that. But getting like base 200 on every single faction would be really beneficial if you haven't already. I was doing that at one point and then kind of stopped. Though we easily could try to do it again. Get every single faction to 200. The only problem with that is I do not have the gold to do such a thing. I would need to hoard quite a bit more gold. Who knows, we'll get quite a bit on this Vault weekends, but not that much. Because we need like tens of millions, like almost over 100 million. To be able to get every single thing to level 200. Every single faction. I do eventually want to do that. Just haven't bothered getting around to it. Yeah, we definitely need to at some point. It would make Tuesday faction events slightly quicker. Because if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure today we had 200 bonus. Actually, it was Silver Necropolis. You know what? We have 222. That's why we're actually able to last so long. This is actually 225 because I think I got it up even higher because of the achievement I needed. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it felt so easy. I forgot about that. Silver Necropolis is actually my highest leveled faction. I believe I'm the only one I have over level 200. And I got it to 225 because we needed it for that one achievement at the time. And it was already at 222. Yeah, that's why it felt like we had so high stats. Because we did. It is the highest of any faction I have. But yeah, it makes quite a bit of a difference. Like, you wouldn't think so. But that little bit of stats, it adds up really quickly. Especially at that lower range, where you're fighting the entire time if you're just doing a Tuesday event. Like, it can substantially help having base 200 on everything. And getting to 200 also gives you the potion effect. So on top of the stats you would get just for getting up to that point, you also get an additional 7 to all stats. Please let me cast. There we go. Yeah, Explorer 12 is pretty good for gold if you AFK it. I say having to constantly keep clicking every few minutes is the main reason I don't really engage with the AFK method. If the auto battle stayed between battles, I would probably use auto battle function. The problem is you have to reset it literally every battle. And it's just more annoying for me than how much the resources are worth. You'll never guess what the team was. Well, it's a gold farming team. So I assume it's either one that wins very quickly or one that uses double Cedric. So it'd have to be like Egg Thief into something. Maybe something that does pretty good skull damage. Because there is an interesting strategy under AI control where Egg Thief's just going to keep casting over and over again. So something that can get really good cascaded skull damage would probably be pretty good. Or it'd be something in first slot that could do a lot of skull pressure, Egg Thief, and then double Cedric. Or single Cedric and have something else for damage output so it wins a bit more consistently. Worst comes to worst, Egg Thief can actually solo it. Like, it would take the AI team forever. But a single Egg Thief with an empty slot in front of it can win an entire Explore 12. It would take it forever, but it would indeed win. Like, I can go show it right now. Like, it would eventually win. Let's see. Yeah, good enough. Oh gosh, you know how annoying that's gonna be against Sir Gawain? Let's see how long this takes. For science. I just want something random here. What's that? How about firebomb? I want a firebomb, and I want an egg thief, and obviously we'll set the banner towards its capability. Banner. Oh, normally you'd have double Cedric too. Well, you know what? Fine, we'll put the Cedrics there. So let's assume you actually had something legit in first slot. That would be good. Though I just want to see what would happen if that thing died. This is the closest thing we can get to if that thing died. Unfortunately, you know what actually got nerfed on Egg Thief? We can't run the double banner anymore. I'm still gonna try though. That's still a good banner for her. Oh, she got nerfed. She was already bad. Well, not bad, but... Okay, let's see. Let's put up a timer. This isn't meant to be quick. I'm just really curious how long this takes. Where's my timer? I am very, very curious how long this will take. Is it basically Egg Thief soloing a battle? Also, come on. Open the timer. Up. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Whoops. Let's see. Luckily, that one is not the one that's actually getting tracked, so that's good. Which one is which, though? It's the only problem. Can I just close this one? Exit. There we go. Good, we only have one timer now. Anyways, let's see how long this takes. Auto battle. Go. Alright, let's see how Egg Thief does here. If I had to guess, this will take like 5 minutes. This is like if you used an Egg Thief team and your first slot died. No! Don't do the firebomb there. Do an Egg Thief. 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 You know you want to. Collect the Egg Thief. If you ever get a turn. Egg Thief? Yeah, Egg Thief. Okay, there we go. I wonder if it's going to keep trying to cast Baby Dragon. Because that'd be a bit of a fail if so. Oh, it's actually going to cast the Cetrix. I guess that makes sense. For a little bit of charm damage. Team name Scrambled Eggs. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if your first slot did die with a skull-oriented version of this, Egg Thief would just still solo everything. It would take it a billion years, but it would still win. I'm trying to think of what we could put in first slot there. Probably Wild King if I had to guess. Let's see. Just old school double Cedric with Egg Thief and Skeleton Key, is it? Because I almost feel like Wild King would actually end up working a little bit better. I kind of want to try this with Wild King now. Because this team is assuming that your first slot died. Which is what I set the team as. Assuming that whatever skull spammer you have would die. And yeah, it would still function. It would take it forever to whittle it down. But like, it would still get the job done. Anyways, let's go win this fight already. Because AI is going to take forever. But let me go try this with an actual build. Alright, give us a good dragon. It's not quite what we're looking for, but it is a skull spammer. I remember when Bone Dragon was the meta. Good old times. Not quite the case anymore. Let's see. We'll take that over. Take a scope poke. Boom, boom, boom. Oh no, he's gonna get summons. No! You know what? I'm gonna go for it. No, I missed. Quick, do damage. Let's just retreat. Anyways. Let me go to a real team. Which is Wild King. Alright, let's see how this goes. I do want to make sure that our banner is oriented towards her, though. So we actually want to go +2 red, +1 green. And we'll minus like brown or something. Alright, so here's a real version of it. That was mostly just to see what would happen with Egg Thief. Oh yeah, let me put AI on. Oops. I forgot. There we go. Let's see how it does. We don't use purple, unfortunately. I'm curious to see how Wild King does here. Because even once it dies, it's going to have a buff or two to second slot. Oh, I just realized I didn't set any of the banner into yellow. I'm not sure if that matters too much. Also, pass this turn for a skull, really? So definitely hit max capacity of gold, if nothing else. I want to cast Wild King already. I'm not sure why he's not casting his main gimmick. It's even in first slot too. Biggest issue is the rest of our team is all stealthy, so it's all going to keep targeting him. Alright, it looks like he's only getting one buff before he ends up ultimately dying. It's still a lot of damage across everything else. Like, this team definitely wouldn't lose. It would just take way too long. I still prefer the other methods. Like, using double Cedric, I personally feel like is almost never going to be worth it for AI team. Like, even with Skeleton Key build or anything else. Just because it's more consistent just to win quickly. And then we're back to the Egg Thief thing. Because it's generally just going to be easier to win with any of the insta-kill teams. Like Iron Gut, Zugoff, stuff like that. Like, we actually showed... I don't even Mother of Darkness team. Did I show one this week? Yeah, this one. Like, even something like this, under AI control, will end up working out quite a bit better. You know what? We'll let it go with this. I was going to go and give it seasons, but I think I'll be fine without seasons. I think as we get more mana accumulation off the Thrall. Oh, let me stop the timer. I'm pretty sure this was one of those that could win in a minute. We had a couple of them that were winning in about a minute each. And personally, I feel like we just get more gold doing it that way. If the team just simply wins in a minute. Because it'll get a Devour here, hopefully. If not, it'll still go for Thrall. Okay, it doesn't get it, but it'll just go for Thrall and cycle it back again. And has auto actually turn on its first slot, so even though it's going to spam Thrall a lot, it'll also be spamming the Iron Gut. The only thing that can go really wrong is if we don't get a Devour before our first slot dies. Which is almost going to happen here. You could try to get past that by going Seasons. Ooh, and it went for the wrong option there. Luckily, it might still work out. Okay, he does get his Devour finally. He did that in a bit of a weird order, but it's still coming through. It's going to be a bit over a minute this time, though, because the order was bad. But now it's 100% Devour rate. Oh, no, it still came out to a minute. But there we go. But I personally feel like it's easier and quicker just to win with something like this than it is to do an actual gold farming team. Because double Cedric's going to give you, like, what, 5,000 something gold? 6,000 something gold? Or just consistently winning within a minute just seems slightly better. Like, it's pretty consistent at winning at a minute. There was a couple teams that we did a while back that were pretty much a minute each. This was among one of my favorite. The biggest issue is if Iron Gut dies too early. It's definitely a factor. You can try to obfuscate that slightly by setting seasons and other stuff. It's really important he gets that initial Devour, and 3 seasons definitely helps with that. Currently we have it set to Magic, which gives a little bit more Thrall mana. But this team probably benefits more from having seasons. Even though that's not what we currently have equipped. Biggest issue right now is it's having the Thrall doesn't find mana issue. Which, of course, is a ever-present issue. Luckily, it knows to take purple. Oh no, that was the AI taking it from us. No! That wasn't us actually grabbing purple. But yeah, it's having the Thrall mana drought issue. Oh good, finally, get some purple. Is it actually going to go for it? Yeah, it's smart enough to go for it. Good job. I got a really slow Thrall, but it should be able to get rolling from here. It just needs to land Iron Gut. We should probably try this with Seasons next. Because I think we get more to benefit, because the only thing using Magic is Thrall's extra mana accumulation, and while that is pretty beneficial, it is way more beneficial for Iron Gut to have a more consistent Devour initially. And now he should go for Thrall. Unless he gets distracted by a skull. Yep, it goes for Thrall. Unfortunately, did not get full mana. We'll go for Thrall again. Then he'll go for an Iron Gut Devourer. Oh, he went for just random purple. Interesting. Now he's going to go for Thrall. Or the Skull. Okay, well, he goes for Thrall. Well, then Iron Gut into Zugoff. Or simply to Zugoff, in which case we win. Especially if he targets the correct one, the bottom one. Let's see, is he smart enough to go for it? No, he isn't. But he'll go for Iron Gut, and that's auto kill. Let's try this with Seasons. That took closer to 2 minutes. But it's mostly from it's not getting Thrall initially. Because the whole first minute was just it's struggling to get Thrall mana. Which is very relatable. Let's see. Even the AI struggles to get that single purple. Sometimes. Which is really funny. But it seems to be running about 1 to 2 minutes each time. Approximately. So it's gonna go for Leprechaun here. Which ideally will give it full Throw mana. Or it'll simply just take full Throw mana, which is even better. It will now go for Leprechaun, unless it gets Skull distracted. Or green distracted for no reason. Why on earth did you take green? There's nothing to fill green even into. Oh, so I just realized we have 69 attack. That's funny. He goes for his Devour. He does not Devour, even off of 69. I would love if you cast Leprechaun already so you can get Thrall going. So we can actually go win. And then we go for the Thrall. And ideally he'll go for Iron Gut and actually get Devoured this time. Okay, he goes for Zul'Goth first. Really bad order, but still okay. Please cast Iron Gut at some point. Thank you. 2 with no Devour. That's unfortunate. 2 and 3 chance. And we're 2 in with no Devour. Come on, third one. You got this. Devour won the last 2. Don't Devour first slot. At least I could have killed. Luckily, Thrall gets the cleanup on it, so I guess it still works out. We'll go for his Devour here. Oh, he's frozen now, but that's fine as long as he gets Devour. Really good value still. How on earth has he missed 4? He has rolled 4 times on a 31% chance in a row. Oh, so he's gonna die here. Which isn't too big a deal because Zul'Goth still does Zul'Goth things, obviously. So even once it dies, Zul'Goth still solos the rest of the battle. So it's not too big a deal. It pretty much just plays the same way that you would normally play this, except it loves casting Thrall a billion more times than you normally would. We do lose our turn there. And is it going to go for Skulls? It does go for Skull. It's not going to be able to get a Thrall off because it's about to die. But it will go for Leprechaun, and that will give us Zul'Goth, and then we win. This will be almost all the mana. It will be all if we cascade it. We did not cascade it. It's going to take it a couple turns, but it will indeed get the poke there. And I'll take a blue here, or a red, or a Skull. And I'll cascade the mana, and then dead. But there we go. That took it way longer that time around. But anyways, yeah, you're done. Killed already. Stop delaying the inevitable. Oh, there we go. But yeah, AI teams are weird. Because even if a team does get some of the consistent wins, it eventually just loves to go glacially slow. Also, did I never claim my reward for this? I saw the other thing and I never claimed the loot from that. That's funny. Anyways, let's go run one more Actual Explorer. Finish out this one. Not with that team, though. Though we could. Actually, you know what? Let's just run that team. Why not? This is actually the faction team I showed for the higher level. Oh, what was your gold per battle? Wait, 10,800? Oh, your VIP 15, though. Your number would look way higher than ours, even without Cedric. Because I think you have, like, double our gold bonus or something. Yeah, not exactly double, but margin way higher. Also, don't you die already? You just started the fight. You died already. This is literally just a Zul'Goth team now. How could you? Oh, fairness, that's not too big a deal. It definitely slows it down a little. That's how not to autoplay, watch it as it's going. I don't know, I find it interesting to observe what the AI will do. Obviously, if I was to actually auto-battle off-stream, I wouldn't do it that way. But I do like observing its every move. It's like we're watching our own little mini Gems of War stream. Within a stream. Unfortunately, he's not first line anymore, is he? Gosh, this thing's Devour rate is abysmal. Outside of factions. Like, once it gets its first one, it's good to go. The biggest issue is getting that first one. Because it loves to just not roll it like 10 times in a row. What is with both of these things doing this like 10 times and still not getting the kill? There we go. Because that was like 5 casts and we still didn't get it. I will do it on this final fight too. Come on, Iron Gut. First cast Devour. You got this. I can't wait till Iron Gut naturally outside of factions can get to almost 100 Devour rate. Like 90 something %. Because then that really opens up Iron Gut actually being usable again. Because one of the issues you never see me running Iron Gut in Explore 12 is pretty much what you've been seeing. So this is a bad example of a battle because we actually got it immediately. But a lot of times you just don't, and then it just delays everything by too much. But if you actually had like a base 90 something, or even, you know, eventually 100 attack, hey, an Anu to end with. Perfect. The game knows. But he needs a higher base attack. Because the highest we can get him to right now, if we went 4 seasons, is what? An extra 12 on that, which would be 73. Which 73 is higher, but not high enough. We need that number to be at least 90 before we can really start using Iron Gut in Explorer 12 as a consistent method rather than other alternative builds. Because it's just too slow. Like, you can use it if you don't have too many other options. But it is just too slow to do without having more attack. But that will change over time. It's one of the reasons why it's so good in Underworld too, because you have the 100% Devour rate. Though it can still work. Because once it gets its first Devour, it's kind of just good to go. But that's too slow for Explorer 12. For some other things like PvP and such, it's like not as slow. Because you can take that little bit extra time and still decently quick. But for Explorer 12, you generally don't want to waste it compared to other things that can already instantly kill. That you don't need to worry about. Because in PvP, you have to worry about surviving a lot more. Whereas in Explorer 12, you don't really care about surviving necessarily as much. You're just more so caring about damaging, pressuring it as much as you possibly can quickly. But anyways, guys, we'll be back tomorrow night, same time as always, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're getting a new pet tomorrow, and by new, I mean kind of new. It's been out for several months now, however, it has never rotated on a Wednesday event before. So to have it up to this point, you would have had to have gotten off of pure RNG, which, you know, a lot of people may have. However, I am in the weird camp of I have not. I am definitely in a bit of a weird category, despite having every other pet, basically, except this one money-locked one. That should be in drop table, though I haven't seen it yet. But despite having literally every other pet in the entire game, I am somehow missing him, despite him being in the drop table for several months. But this is the first Wednesday event where you can get him guaranteed. So if you're in a similar situation like me, or you just want to get him a little bit more maxed, you'll be able to do so tomorrow, as it'll be the first time he's ever been around at 100% drop rate all of tomorrow for that 24-hour period. And anyways, guys, we'll be back tomorrow night, same time as always, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 hour prior to now tomorrow. And I'll catch you guys then. Have a wonderful week, and stay safe out there. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching.